The UFC on ABC3 main event did not end the way Brian Ortega had hoped for himself. An injury causes a premature ending to his fight with Yair Rodriguez. Ortega, looking fairly good early on in this fight, was using some good grappling pressure in the clinch, managed to get a nice takedown, but ultimately that leads to an exchange with Rodriguez where his arm gets caught up and pops out of the socket, dislocated shoulder, and the fight ends then and there. You could see the frustration in Ortega after this happened, how disappointed he was, and in his post-fight interview with Daniel Cormier, painted a bit of a grim image on kind of where things could potentially go from here. He noted that he has had 2 shoulder surgeries before. There could be a third one coming. Of course, a lot of adrenaline, emotion running in the cage. We have yet to figure out the exact extent of this injury and how long it could potentially keep him out of action. We all hope for the best for Brian Ortega, no surgery, anything like that, and he's able to make as quick a recovery as possible for an injury like this. With that said, it makes it somewhat difficult to predict the future for Ortega. Both men talked about a rematch in the cage. Rodriguez saying at the press conference that he's not opposed to it either, but I just don't think the timelines are going to line up for that. Potentially, if Ortega is out for a while, his next fight could be against Rodriguez, but I don't know if Rodriguez's next fight will be against Ortega, just given how he is probably looking to move forward to something else and not wait out a potentially long time. But Ortega still one of the best in the featherweight division, one of the best out there. He was, as I said, looking good in this fight, and I think this puts him right back, in the mix whenever he does return. He's able to fight a big name, probably a top 5 guy. Technically, the first 2-fight losing skid of his career, but I don't have too much concern for Brian Ortega in terms of where he fits into this division. I think when he comes back, his next fight will have similar stakes, looking to get himself back in the title picture. I don't think many people will sum this up as a true loss for Brian Ortega, but definitely an unfortunate one. And again, I hope the best for him and his health, and that we can see him back to fighting soon against another top featherweight contender.